guys, Lord here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the Kenner Gargoyles Power Wing Goliath, the first of two deluxe figures I'll be taking a look at from the Kenner Gargoyles line. And since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, nor the lone accessory, I believe it was some kind of sword, but at any rate, let us now just take a quick look-see at our Wing Goliath here, which is probably one of the best Goliath variants in this line. And while I do know that good old Throwback Thursdays is starting to turn into the Goliath Marathon, you might as well keep the Gargoyles train rolling, because I don't have very many of these figures left. And what better way to end the Gargoyles run of Throwback Thursdays than with the one thing that I believe that killed the line, and that is a ton of Goliath variants. I mean, talk about Kenner Batman syndrome. This line had that in spades with Goliath here. Granted, a lot of them made sense in a way, and they did give them the cool medieval armor to kind of mix things up, but at the same time, there were plenty of characters who would have translated well into action figure form. Other Gargoyle characters, in fact, that we never got, and I'm hoping we get in the new NECA line. But at any rate, we're not talking about all that. We're talking about Power Wing Goliath here, and he is really cool. And I got to give a shout out to Joy's Toy Store for making this review possible, because that's where I got this from. Really good price, considering what he goes for on the secondary market. This is definitely one of the more expensive Goliath variants out there. And to be honest with you, again, one of the cooler ones, because it's pretty close to Goliath, with the exception of this armor here and the chest plate. If you were good at customizing, you could easily turn this into a regular Goliath. And I think he probably has the best Goliath head sculpt in the Kenner line. Very stoic looking face. I like the battle armor one because he's ready to whoop some ass, but this one I think just has a little bit more going for it. And of course, articulation, just to get it out of the way. His head will move a little tiny bit. His arms will go up and down, and his legs will move up and down, and his tail does swivel a little bit. But the main draw for this figure is the wings on the back, because if you remember specifically in the pilot, Goliath's wings spread out something crazy, and I don't really remember them doing that ever again. But all you gotta do is unlatch them here. There we go. And let them fly. And there you go. They're the power wings. Now the power wings do just unplug from the back. I'm not going to do that just to save time. But they do look really impressive. Really, really impressive. I am super happy with how this guy came out. Considering the time, he looks really freaking good. And just pinning the camera up here to give you an idea of how massive this wingspan is. It is freaking huge. Like, this is almost NECA status. It is oversized, yes, but that's the point. That's the whole gimmick of the figure. I don't mind them being oversized. I think they look freaking epic. And again, this is probably one of, if not the best Goliath variant in the Kenner line. That's not a traditional Goliath, we'll say. And again, to collapse these, all you gotta do is bring these down, and then you can slide this tab into here, and that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot to it, and sometimes it will spring apart on you. That's just a given, especially when you don't get the little wing tab out there. But you can unhook these by accident really easy, so just be mindful of that. But once you get it, it should be pretty good. So it is a little tricky to get them hooked back up, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, that's Power Wing Goliath in a nutshell, man. Not a whole lot to talk about other than the massive wings and the fact that he's pretty show accurate other than the armor plate there. And again, I don't have his sword. If anyone's got that sword, please let me know. I would love to complete this guy, but I looked it up on eBay not too long ago and I couldn't find it, much like Brooklyn's sword. So there's something to do with Gargoyle swords that your boy just can't find them on the internet nowadays. So kind of a day late, dollar short for that, I guess. But at any rate, with that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's our Power Wing Goliath next to the closest thing we ever got to a standard Goliath in the Kenner Gargoyles line, the Stone Armor Goliath. And if you really wanted to, you could probably take the head from the Power Wing Goliath and put it on the Stone Armor Goliath to give him a more stoic expression. That said, it does appear that the Stone Armor Goliath is ever so slightly taller than the Power Wing Goliath. Wonder why that is. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus. Little Spawn, as usual, towers over everyone. And no, I'm not going to count the wings because that's cheating. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and even though this is yet another variant of Goliath from the Kenner Gargoyles line, much like the Battle Armor Goliath I took a look at a couple weeks ago, I think it's one of the better ones. And if you're going to get any Goliath variants from this line, I think this one and the Battle Armor Goliath are two of the best. I mean, just look at the wings on this thing. They look freaking epic, don't they? Don't they? And on top of that, he's close enough to a standard Goliath to where if you didn't get the stone armor or even the quick strike, which, let's face it, those are the closest we have to a standard Goliath in this line, this one is a nice substitute. And if you do wind up getting the stone armor Goliath, you might be able to do some customization and get an even better, more traditional style Goliath out of the two. Granted, the Stone Armor Goliath does seem to stand a little bit taller than this guy. Still kind of curious why that is. So, with that being said, I would highly recommend you pick this figure up if you're looking for a really awesome Goliath for your Kenner Gargoyles shelf, one that will have a striking presence amongst all the rest. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays, and if you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. And if you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when a bunch of Vikings come in, ransack your castle, and smash your clan into dust. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.